So the exceptions, of course, in reality, it is not definitely be the same. There are certain exceptions to the law of demand, and those exceptions are like given goods discussed under given goods. And what are these given goods? These are nothing, but they are named as a given goods because it is been uh, developed. The concept is being developed by Mr. Giffen, an economist, and on his name it is called as given goods. What is actually given goods? It's all about inferior goods. Inferior goods, which is an exception to the law of demand. That is when, for example, any a price of any commodity, if it is, falling, the consumers are willing to spend more because it becomes superior in the market. Means here, try to understand, people would prefer buying more because the prices are falling here. If the price increases in the same line, the quantity of that product should increase, right? So this will have to face a condition in the market whereby it can happen only on the products which are considered to be by nature inferior products. S- Like, simple examples like of bajra, barley, gram, etc. When people buy it in bulk, when generally you see the fall in any products prices of these kind, it will lead to purchases purchasing of more about that more purchases about that product. This state is referred as given products, and this was firstly explained and brought in by Mr. Giffen. Okay, so this are termed as an exceptional to law of demand. Where we learning law of demand is all about the inverse relationship between price and quantity, where we assume that when the prices are falling, the quantity will rise, isn't it? The quantity will rise. So this is an exceptional case. Population and distribution. Again, the demand for any product depends upon its population. That is how many number of buyers in a given market, in a given geographical location. The need of the market, uh, the kind of groups, say, considered to be identical groups, children, old age, okay, educated, illiterates, daily wage earners, all these, you know, are exceptional to the law of demand. Next is Veblen and demonstration effect. This is a condition where, whereby such products like diamond, price of a diamond falls. The poor also will buy, and hence they will not give prestige. Therefore, rich people will stop buying it. So this kind of, effect, we call it as demonstration effect, and they are referred as Veblen. Then is ignorance. Ignorance is a state where the quality of the commodity is judged by the price. If the price is coming down, we consider that product is to be, quality of the product is compromised. And so we have a doubt on that product commodity, thereby having an effect on the demand of that product. Speculative is in state where the price rises, people expect further rise in price, and they end up buying more and more. That's a speculation. Fear of shortage, it is all about, certain emergencies. which happens in a particular geographical location like COVID pandemic, a war, a tsunami, flood, earthquake, etc. So anticipating the food shortage during this period, people end up buying more of, the commodities which are necessity, irrespective of what the prices of those commodities are. So here, try to understand the law of demand when we are, studying. These are the certain cases which are exceptional. Given products, distribution, Veblen effect, ignorance, speculations, fear of shortage, and the necessities of certain products which are necessity. Okay, approaches to demand. Now, there are various approaches to demand like graphical approach, algebraic approach, okay, and changes in demand versus changes in quantity. Look at this table and followed by the change in quantity demanded, which is shown graphically. The demand curve is said to be a graphical representation of law of demand. And the movement of this demand curve is caused due to the change in the prices. Now you can see consumers A income is 1,000 and consumers A's income on the other side it is 4,000. And now these two cases can be analyzed by the price and demand for the products in terms of quantity, that is kg per month. Suppose when the price is 70, there is no demand, 60 no demand, 50 no demand, 40 no demand, 40 there is 2 kgs of demand, 30 it is 4 kgs, 20 it is 10 kgs. Now what do you observe by this table? When consumers income is 1,000 rupee, where the prices are coming down, the demand for a product is increasing. When the prices are falling, the quantity demanded is increasing. On the contrary, look at the other side when the consumer's income is 4,000. When it is 70, the quantity demanded is 1 kg. When the price is 60, it is 2 kgs. When the price is 50, it is 4, 40, 6, 30, 10, 20, 20, respectively. This movement, which is depicted in the graphical, we call it as change in quantity demanded due to contraction and extraction. A movement along the demand curve, a shift of the demand curve, and the relationship between demand and revenue can be understood based on this. And before we move on, there are certain elements which are of utmost important terms which we are going to use frequently. That is TR, total revenue, average revenue, AR, marginal revenue, MR, total revenue, marginal revenue. Now, look at this average revenue AR. Price is given from rupee 10 to rupee 4. Quantity demanded is given from rupee 10 to rupee. Quantity demanded, say per kg, it is 10 to 70. You can see when the prices are more, the quantity demanded is less. When the prices are falling, the quantity demanded is more. How do you compute TR, that is total revenue? Price into quantity. price into quantity, that is Q into P, quantity into price. And AR is TR into Q. MR is TR minus TRN minus 1. Okay. So here is a demand curve where MR is crossing the x-axis and AR, they're all going downwards. Average revenue and marginal revenue curves we call. And you can see on the x-axis it is demand and y-axis it is price. These two curves of AR and MR are sloping downwards. MR is in fact going down the line of x-axis, marginal revenue. Okay, yes. So keep in mind here in this unit, law of demand, exceptions to law of demand, relationship between AR, TR, this is very important. All right. Relationship between demand and revenue, the various elements of, you know, demand and revenue concepts like TR, AR, MR. These are important. And next comes elasticity of demand. In this unit, you will be understanding about the various concepts of elasticity of demand, how it is measured, the various classification, that is types of elasticity of demand. There are basically 5. Then income elasticity, application of income elasticity, cross elasticity, or say arc elasticity we call. How these are measured is what you're going to learn here. Now you see the measurement of elasticity of demand. What is elasticity of demand? It is introduced by Marshall, and in economics, the demand elasticity of demand of any given commodity is all depends upon the uh, price of that commodity. And elasticity of demand as such is nothing but the percentage change in the quantity demanded due to the change in price is referred as elasticity of demand, and this is measured in 5 types. Number 1, point elasticity of demand. This point elasticity of demand is wherein a particular point on the demand curve, that is in a straight line curve, elasticity on this particular line signifies the extension to meet the two axes, and the point here divides the whole curve into 2 segments, before and after, post and free. And this is usually mathematically, algebraically, when we have to present it, it is presented as PB divided by PA. Point elasticity of demand is an elasticity which is measured at point P, and AB is drawn to the point P, and the elasticity of any point on P is measured using the formula. And the formula goes: lower segment of the demand curve is divided by the upper segment, that is PB divided by PA. Okay, and now you see the perfectly elastic, which is a line DD curve in perfectly elastic, inelastic demand happens to be a vertical line which is parallel to y-axis. On the same, uh, you know, on the same line, if you look at perfectly elastic demand, it is a straight line. DD curve is a straight line, but here it is parallel to x-axis, and it's an horizontal line. Okay, and we have unitary elastic where it is in the form of a curve, a small curve. Okay, and then we have arc elasticity of demand. Arc elasticity of demand is an average elasticity which is a midpoint of the chord, and it connects both new point and initial on the demand curve. For measuring price elasticity of the demand, we have to devise an arc method, and the formula for the arc method is Q1 quantity 1 minus quantity 2 divided by quantity 1 plus quantity 2, P1 minus P2 divided by P1 plus P2. The factors which influence the elasticity of demand is nature of good, range of prices, the number of closeness of substitutes, amount which can be spent on the commodity, and duration. Postponement and variety of uses are the other two factors. Now look at the types of elasticity of demand. There are, perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand. Elastic demand is a horizontal line parallel to x-axis. Inelastic demand is a vertical line parallel to y-axis. Relatively elastic is in a line which is downwards moving because of a small change in price, which is making a big change in the quantity demanded. And it is represented as E greater than 1. Relatively inelastic demand is represented as E less than 1. And here again, the quantity demanded proportionately changes because of the change in price. Unitary elasticity of demand is represented as E is equals to 1, where the demand is exactly equal to the change in price. All these are summed up in a single, graph, which you all can see on this. Then we have measurement of price elasticity. For practical, purposes, there are various approaches. Besides, we have graphical measure, percentage and analytical approach, and mathematical measure, total outlay method. Okay, of all this, total outlay method is important. Total outlay method is wherein you draw a schedule for the elasticity, which we usually refer as demand schedule, price and quantity, and then total outlay is computed. by, you know, product of price and demand gives the total outlay. And the same is plotted on the graph. The x-axis is quantity and the y-axis it is price. P1, P2, P3, P4 are marked and accordingly E1, E2, E3, E4 are marked. Income elasticity of a demand here refers to any commodity when purchased by a consumer has a different level of income. Each one has a different level of income. Under this function, we see that the consumer's income is one of the determinant of demand. And income elasticity of demand for a product shows the extent with the consumer's demand for the commodity which changes as a result of change in income. And symbolically, it is given as percentage change in quantity demanded of X divided by percentage change of income in the income of the consumer. And types of income elasticity again, it has greater than unity, that is EY is greater than 1, and income elasticity which is less than unity, we symbolically show it as EY less than 1. And unitary income elasticity where EY is equals to 1, negative where the coefficient is less than 0 and at times even it is a negative number. Zero income elasticity of demand. And all these five variates, that is E is equals to -1, equal to 0, less than 0, greater than 0, 1 and equal to +1. All these are summarized and shown in one single graph where on y-axis it is income of the consumer and x-axis it is quantity demanded of by the consumer. Commodities differ based on their income. Demand for any commodity depends on the income levels of the consumers. Goods like jewelry, ornaments, precious stones, furnitures, automobiles, etc. have high income elasticity of demand because they are found to be greatly regarded as luxurious and have a high income elasticity, while those of other commodities, they require very small portion because the consumer had to spend on them. Income elasticity similarly have the necessities and a low income elasticity of demand. Applications of income elasticity of demand. For formulating marketing strategy, forecasting future demand, and planning for our firm's growth are the various applications of income elasticity of demand. Then we move on to cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand. Excuse me. This concept of cross elasticity is useful in handling intercommodity demand relationship. This is basically defined as a ratio of the percentage change in demand for one good to percentage change in price of some other good, which comes about because of the fact that the two goods either are substitutes or are complementary. If goods are substitutes, then the cross elasticity is positive. And when the goods are complementary, then the elasticity is negative. Now, when the price of a slice increases, the quantity demanded of the same will decrease. And this will have a positive slope of the demand curve. It is very much possible that two goods, say X and Y, are unrelated and they are neither substitutes nor complement. In such cases, the cross elasticity of demand will be zero. That is when the perfectly substitute products, the cross elasticity of demand is highly elastic and will be highly negative, tending to infinity. Advertising elasticity of demand. Factors influencing advertising elasticity of demand. Stage of a product, in which stage the product lies, effect of advertising, influence of advertising also plays a vital role in deciding the demand for a given commodity. Practical applications of the concept of elasticity of demand deals with level of output and price, the various fixations in factors of production like land, labor, capital, demand forecasting, government policies, etc. define the cross elasticity of demand, influence the cross elasticity of demand. All right. Now, in this elasticity of demand, the three concepts, price, income, and cross elasticity. Okay, these are important, and the various factors which leads the types of each elasticity of demand uh, in cross elasticity, in price elasticity, and income elasticity, each one are of equal importance. So price elasticity, income elasticity, and cross elasticity. These are the three major topics under this. Okay. So yes, anyone, any queries here? Any doubts before we move on to the next? Okay, seems to be no queries from the other end. All right. Yes, I think um, in this chapter, try to learn the demand schedule, law of demand, and the graphical representation of law of demand. Do certain exercises to solve certain schedules and make a graph and try to understand the various exceptions of law of demand, followed by price, income, and cross elasticity of demand. Now, any various factors which influence the elasticity of demand also. You can focus and prepare yourself for the examination. Now, I think with this we'll stop. I will not stop the next unit because halfway I'll have to stop and continue in almost a gap of 5 days. So let me stop here and we'll be continuing in the upcoming week. All right. We'll end up the session here and see you all in the next week. Meanwhile, you can look at the topics which are suggested, law of demand, schedule of demand and focus on income, price, and cross elasticity of demand. So, happy learning to all of you. Do attend the next week class. Thank you, dear all.
Thank you, ma'am.